Welcome to the Biz and Tech Podcast. My name is Blake Dowling. I'm the CEO of Aegis, and this is our 6th or 7th season of Biz and Tech. We've been doing it a long time. Today, we are welcoming the founder of Bowstern, Tom, as well as a candidate for City Commission. Great to have you here.
Thanks for
Before we get started, cyber tips. Look out for emails, fake emails. We just got through with tax season. What's next? Who knows? But interestingly enough, as AI becomes more prevalent, did you know there is an AI social platform called Moltbook? And no, I'm not making this up. There are AIs on Moltbook that have conversations about religion, poetry, AI, technology. It's wild. Check it out. Moltbook was recently acquired by Meta, so you're going to see their founders working for Mark now going forward. We'll see what they do with it. AI is everywhere, and luckily not here, because we are here to have a conversation with Tom about Bowstern and all the good work that you all have done in our community. And first off, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. So let's dive right in. Tell us about yourself. Where are you from? What was that first childhood job? Let's dive into the past, and then we'll get into the present and then the future.
Awesome. Born here in Tallahassee at TMH, 1974. And my dad built radio stations. He would license them and get them built up on the air and build the staff and run them for a while. And so as I entered, late elementary, middle school years, we moved to Kentucky and West Virginia.
Okay.
Kentucky for a year or two, West Virginia, and then we made it back home. And so Tallahassee's always been home for me, and it's where my parents went to Leon High School. My son's going to Leon High School, and so when I graduated myself and joined the Navy, came home, finished college, and started a business here.
Awesome. It's a great story. Let's start at one chapter of that.
Yeah.
So the Navy, walk us through that year before enlisting and the whys and the hows, and most importantly, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's funny to be in marketing now because it was marketing. And although I ended up in the Navy, it was quite an accident. I wanted to be a Marine because I saw those commercials and those uniforms. And as a young man, I thought, that's what I want to go do.
The few, the proud, the Marine. It is pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you can't touch it. But I worked with a Marine recruiter, and I took my ASVAB, a test to see like what you can do. Took all the jobs back to Dad, and it was like, I scored high, but in the Marine Corps, high scores get you like tank driver or, electrician or radioman or such.
And what's that test like to those not knowing in our audience? Is it like a 1 hour test? Is it like,
It's a Saturday morning at a place they called MEPS, and it's just a little bit of everything. They're just looking at your general aptitude. See,
do they interview you as well as the testing?
Nah, written score, man. It's just like taking the ACT or something. You find out a couple days later where you landed. So my dad said, I was only 17. It was the end of my junior year, and I was decided when I make up my mind to do something, I'm all in. And so I'm like, I'm going in the military. I'm going to be a Marine. And but I needed my dad's approval because I was a minor.
Right.
And when I went home and showed him the jobs, he said, he was in Vietnam. And he said, no, you're not. You have to have a civilian equivalent. So when you get out, you could do that out here. And tank driver in Tallahassee's, sort of hard to come by.
It's a niche market.
Yeah, a little bit tough to find that job. So I went back to the recruiter, and he stood up, and he grabbed my wrist, and he had these bare paw hands, man, just like, boom. And he said, come with me. And we walked out the door, and I said, where are we going? He said, the Navy. I was like, I don't want to be in the Navy. And he spun around and he said, listen, Navy medics are called hospital corpsmen, and the Marine Corps uses all Navy medics. They don't have their own medics. And he said, so tell your dad you're going to be a medic. And he goes, then you're coming with us. And so I went in and signed up for the Navy. My dad signed because I was going to be a medic. And then I never spent one day with the Marines. When I graduated Corps School, they sent me to a hospital, and then they sent me to a squadron. So I loved every day of it, and it worked out great for me, but it's kind of funny to accidentally become a corpsman.
That is a good story.
Yeah.
So what parts of the world did you serve in?
I was in Atlantic, Mediterranean. That's primarily where I spent most of my time. And then from a skill set or an environmental perspective, I was always in the aviation community. So did time in Pensacola, teaching pilot survival training, aerospace medicine, aerospace physiology. And then I was with a squadron as their doc. And so me and a couple other guys were the medical department for a 800 people squadron. It was pretty fun.
Awesome. Did you have a moment at some point during your service where you said, this is why I served? Did you have that experience?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. We were, my conflict was in 99, and we were trying to provide some humanitarian relief under President Clinton in Albania and Bosnia. There was some ethnic cleansing and bad stuff over there. And our helicopters in my squadron were designed to do mine countermeasures. So when they mine shipping lanes, like we see right now in the Straits of Hormuz, our helicopters would pull devices through the water that either detonated acoustic mines, so it was a big tube with a hammer in it, and when the water went by, it banged like a ship's engine, or magnetic, or some other technology. And so they're huge, and they had great capacity to carry things. When that happened, they changed our mission to relief supplies. So they filled up the back of our helicopters with food, and we would go land in soccer fields or open farm fields and drop food to people who needed it. And it was interesting as a young man to look at that and see, like, wow, these people this is what struggle looks like. I mean, to really, really be hurting and really in a war-torn country. I mean, the place was devastated. So it was eye-opening for sure.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So you ended your service. You were looking at the job market, I'm sure. And did you say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to start my own company, or did you do something else before Bowstern? What led to Bowstern?
I need to write a book like you, man, because I'm reflecting on this. It's funny. Accidentally ended up in the Navy, because I wanted to be a Marine. But I had all this medical training, and I love being around my flight surgeon and the medical community, and so I was going to get out and go to medical school. So came home, had a letter of acceptance to Florida State University, and it was just a glitch, meaning my grades were great, and I was accepted, but when I went to enroll, they realized they had missed that I didn't take a foreign language. And so they said, you can't be a junior, you have to have this done.
Psych. Ouch.
Yeah, it was, man, talk about being so happy, and I parked my car and walked in, I'm be a Seminole, and you walk out and you're like, no, you're not. So I went to TCC back then and had to do my foreign language. And the only reason I didn't take it in the Navy was because I might go to school for a year and then we'd deploy for 6 months. And I thought, well, I actually want to know Spanish, so I'm going to take it back to back. Oddly enough, I got an A twice. I don't know Spanish. It's just probably like everybody else. But while I was there, it was a great experience. I now serve on the foundation, as you're aware, and I love the mission of TSC. And me and my family support it regularly and understand the important work they do.
Jim and Heather have their names on everything.
Yeah, it's incredible.
The brand imprint is massive.
It is. From
concerts to core mission of education to awards, rebranding the school. It's been awesome to watch. You guys are doing great things.
Now, some will say it's because I was in my major, but at the academic rigor at TSC that year, because I went ahead and took some other courses, biology and math and stuff, was heavier than FSU. The expectation on those professors, the size of the classes,
and what age
the
was
critique
this
of the work.
Approximately?
I was probably 25.
Okay.
So I was in the Navy for a few years and then got out and did this. But so then I thought it was hard. It was hard for me, and I had to get good grades for medical school, so I was pretty stressed. And then I got to FSU, and I was like, this is easy. I mean, it wasn't very difficult at all. But life gave me a fork in the road again. I wanted to be a doctor, and I was working in the emergency room at what was called Tallahassee Community Hospital before they built the big Capital Regional Medical Center. Now I think it's called Capital Hospital. And I would work overnights from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., go home or eat breakfast, go to school all day, get home at 3 in the afternoon, go to bed, wake up at 9 or 10 and go to work. So that was my college life. And one night I was just sitting there and I was sort of conflicted internally. I didn't know that I wanted to be a doctor. I had the good grades. I've done all the things, had all this medical training, but I was really trying to discern. I'm a person of faith. And so I just had this uneasiness in my spirit. Like, this is not what I'm being called to do. And ironically, I was working overnight with this old stoner, and he had a beard before they were cool. Like, now everybody has these big, cool beards, but this was like it was odd. You're like, wow, you're like 25 years old and have this massive beard.
A hipster before it was hip.
Yeah, he was early. But what was kind of cool about that was he said, he goes, Tom, dude, you should be like a PR guy. And I was like, a what? And he goes, like if there's a plane crash or something, and he comes up to the podium and just chills everybody out. And because I've had a gift for just identifying ways to bring people together. And so if it's doctor mad at a nurse or patients mad at everybody or whatever the case was, and I worked in the emergency room, so overnight in the emergency rooms could be emotional for folks. And I was always able just to kind of bring peace to the situation and get everybody working in the right direction again. And so he said, you'd be great at that. So I got online, I Googled PR Florida State. I found out you had to apply for it. I applied and got in, and now I own a PR firm.
So far in your life story, we've got the aggressive Marine that grabbed you by the hand and the bearded guy.
Yeah.
Big players in your life story.
Two huge mentors, yeah.
That's a great narrative, man.
No,
all right,
cool.
so Bowstern, how the name was from the Navy?
Well, it was. My business partner and I, Kelly Robertson, we started it together.
And you met her? How?
We worked at a company called Kid Group. It used
Oh,
to be
yeah, I
Kid
know
Dress
that group.
School.
Yeah, okay.
Jerry Kidd was an early mentor and someone I have a great deal of respect for. And I wanted to create something different, though. He ran a great shop, but it was the ad agency, grind. I mean, it was, and we work hard and we grind out, but I wanted to balance.
And this was before Mad Men was
Yeah.
out, so.
Yeah. So I was trying to balance and figure out what culture I wanted to create, and I wanted to do my own thing. So I called Kelly. We had worked together. She had resigned from Kid Group sometime earlier, and then I went in to tell Jerry that I was giving him 6-month notice because I'd become the vice president of that organization. And first of all, Steph just had our son Thomas. So we're married a few years. We have a newborn at home. She's on maternity leave. And I told my mother-in-law that I was going to start the company and I was going to resign. And she took me to lunch and was like, you have a great job. You have a new baby. Are you crazy? But I really felt like the stakes being pretty high made it a challenge. Like, well, you cannot fail. You have a new baby. Like, this has to work. You better go. So I sort of like the idea of having to succeed. But I went in, I told Jerry, gave him 6 months notice, and he went to lunch and then, came back like mid-morning. Actually, he left the office and he said, hey, you can't have it both ways. You can't start your company and work for mine. So go home and talk to Steph and either bring a box back with your stuff in it, because I had some equipment at home from working on the weekends and stuff, or come back and let's get to work and we'll talk about you acquiring this company. And it was kind of this long conversation with him. It's hard for people who build something to think about letting it go.
Sure.
Which is one of the reasons I felt like I needed to just do my own thing. So I walked in the door and Steph said, how'd it go? And I told her, and she was feeding Thomas, and she took the baby and set him on the couch. And I said, where are you going? She goes, I'm going to get your box. You're taking your stuff back. And I was like, oh, because I was riding home and I thought, is this the right thing? Is it the right time? Maybe this is a sign. We'll see if Steph's on board. And she was, but she was like, we've decided we're doing this. Let's go. And so I resigned that day, and I was let go that day. I didn't get 6 months. And sometimes in business, that's how it is.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's Kelly and I met a few weeks later because I had saved up some money and was not, panicked. 6 months was a bit of a surprise because I was sort of hoping for that.
You mapped out that plan. Here's what I'm going to do during this 6 months.
Yeah.
In my
I'll
own
save up
time.
and this but so Kelly reached out to me a few weeks later and said, "You got to be bored, man. Let's connect." So we met at the Corner Pocket on Appalachian Parkway, and hanging in my office right now is framed the napkin we took notes on, the culture we wanted to build. The company was almost called Buoyant. A few other crazy names, but what we realized was
Buoyant. That's not good.
Yeah, the names that there were several that we thought were clever, but when we looked at the successful firms, McKinley, Saatchi & Saatchi, even locally, you got Sachs, Moores, Zimmerman, Kidd, right? It's the principals' names, but my last name's Derzypolski, so that's impossible. So we created this fictitious tale about Nathaniel Bow and Edgar Stern. And the story's on our website. It's about these two guys who meet Hemingway and decide to go into work together during the Mad Men period. And
Awesome.
so that's where the Bowstern came from. And a few years later, I'm in a meeting in Tampa, and we won a big account. And the website says this fictitious tale is how we build brands. They should have stories. They should move people. They should be. And so we're at cocktails after winning this account with the client. I was like, so what put us over the edge? And he said, well, the principal, who was older, he was older, said he really respected the fact that you guys have been in business since the 50s. That's not easy to do. And I looked at Kelly and I was like, I went right back to the hotel and read it again. It could not have been more clear. I'm like, I didn't say a word. I was like, oh, glad to have the opportunity.
That's awesome. Yeah, you brought back a lot of memories of my own journey when you said that. I remember when I told Jeannie, I was like, I think I'm going to get the opportunity to be the CEO at Aegis. She's like, let's do this.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. And then that included buying it, and that included rebranding. I even thought of changing the name. Your buoyant mention. I'm like, don't change it if it's not broke.
Right.
We did shorten it because originally we were Aegis Computer Services and then Aegis Business Technologies. And that's a lot to get off the tongue.
Sure.
Not as much as your last name, but it's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And Aegis Biz Tech we've settled on. And then our 2035 brand will just be Aegis.
Nice.
No more other words. All black and gray. It's going to be slick. And then I'll retire. See ya.
We'll be done with it later.
But we'll still do this show because you got to love the Biz and Tech audience. And shout out to our producer, Josh, with Level Up. What up? What up? And Spence in the studio today. Good to see you, man. All right. So all that said, a few questions we have to ask our guests.
Sure.
If you could time travel, Tom, where would you go?
Oh, man. If I could time travel, I would. I like the idea of the early exploration and crossing the oceans. That when I sail and go out beyond the side of land, it's
No deodorant.
a great experience. Yeah. So I would have.
It's a lot of people at sea.
Yeah, it would have probably been during that period of discovering the new world and the adventure of that, and I'm wondering if if the Earth was flat, were you about to sail off the edge of it?
There's still some flat Earth theorists out there. You know this, right?
Yeah, it's I just don't even know what to say to that.
I have a mentor, a protege in the Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce / Access program, Anaya, and we met the other day, and one of our professors is a flat Earth theorist right now. I was like, well, what about looking at the stars? What about, we just went to the moon, at least around it.
Yeah.
What about that?
Maybe it was flat and they just...
The pictures of the Earth? I don't know.
Yeah.
She sent me some videos of his lectures. So we got that going for us. So best concert?
Long Island, Jimmy Buffett, outdoor in the amphitheater. It was the whole package, though. We started the evening in the city, went out to a completely different, Parrot Head Lunatic Festival, had great seats, 3 rows back. It was a really excellent show. And then we spent all night in the city eating sushi and running around having fun with our wives. So that was a great package experience. I enjoyed that.
Gosh, the Buffett experience. The Grateful Dead took out Jimmy Buffett a few times as an opener. That's when you're it.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Buffett shows here in Tallahassee whenever he would come home were always epic.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
It is. It truly is. So looking out there, running for office. Mm-hmm. Why do you want to run for office?
Why do I want to run? To me, it was a combination of things, really. But I've told people this story, and I'll give you the fast version. But much of my 25 years back in Tallahassee, I've been involved with boards, Red Cross, Goodwill, there's long lists I can keep naming. But I was brought up to serve. You were given 2 hands, one to take care of yourself, one to take care of somebody else. And I believe we made a difference, the nonprofit work we've done as a family. Myself, Stephanie's been on all the boards. But when I looked at
you all's activities during the pandemic, Hermine, y'all are, I don't use this term with anything but love, but the power couple, that's getting out there to make some change. Pretty cool to watch.
Yeah.
My 2 cents.
Well, no, thank you. It's weird to hear that, and because I think if you see people hurting or suffering or hungry, that you should. I think we all have that voice, that movement, but just listen to it and go serve, do something about it. And so, I really believe we've done great work. I'll never forget seeing a little girl in our Port zip code here in Tallahassee, and we were installing smoke detectors for free in people's homes with the Red Cross. It was called Sound the Alarm. You went door to door on a Saturday morning. So we're going door to door, and you go in and sit in the living room. And
That's super cool, by the way.
yeah, it was a great experience. And back to Jimmy Buffett, he has lyrics in a song that say, "Don't describe the ocean if you've never seen it." And so you can read about poverty. You can understand math. You can understand median household incomes and Alice population. But when you're sitting on somebody's couch in their home, and you see the family, and you see how many people are living in this small space. I saw this little girl walk down the hallway. It's Saturday morning. She's wearing pajamas, and I'm just kind of taken in. I'm the teacher in that. One of us sat and educated the adult on how to escape. Do you have an escape plan? You have a back door, front door, windows are also available. While the other person, the volunteer, hung the smoke detector in the hallway, and this little girl walked across the room and opened the refrigerator and stood there, and sort of my dad instinct. My boys stand there in front of the refrigerator wide open for like 5 minutes just looking around. I'm like, shut the refrigerator, you're letting the cold air out. So it just caught my attention. And then it kind of went on, and the lady was filling out a form I needed her to fill out. And then I just looked beyond the little girl into the refrigerator, and there was nothing but light. There was no food. What she was looking for was something to eat on a Saturday morning. And I went home and I told Stephanie, I was like, how can this be in our community that we have the #1 poorest population in the state of Florida, and nobody talks about it or obsesses about it every day? Like, who wants to be #1 at that? I mean, it just wasn't okay. And so I got involved with the Goodwill. I'm like, oh, we need to create jobs. And then I got involved with Second Harvest, and we started donating to Monique's efforts. And I would say over the past year or two that I've felt like the city commission is broken. I mean, it's fundamentally broken from a mutual respect, from getting things done for the people who need it most. And in my life, I've always been able to bring people together to move forward. I may not be the brightest guy that can tell you about the most complex policy decisions, but I know how to find that woman. I know how to find that partner. I know how to find those people and bring them around and say, hey, we cannot have the poorest zip code in Florida anymore. Yes, jobs. Yes, crime. Yes, the environment. But nobody's talking about this. And so I'm going to go in there, and we're going to get to work. And I'd like to think in 4 years we could change that. And I think I have the skills to rally people to do so.
Awesome.
That's it. That's the whole thing. My life's good. I'm married to the woman I love. I live in a house I never thought I'd be able to ever own. I got a company full of great people. My boys are healthy. I got a dog I like. Like, I don't have anything. All I want to do is serve. All I want to do is go in there.
Is the dog problematic? You didn't say love. You said like.
Right. You love everybody else? No, I love her. She's a great girl.
Good. Well, the call to serve is your message throughout everything you've described. And if everyone had that call, imagine the world we would live in. So
yeah,
thank you for your service.
We wouldn't have any nonprofits.
So let's talk proudest moment. You've talked about a lot of cool things. Could you name a proudest moment different than anything you've shared thus far?
Well, this sounds corny or cliche, but the fact that Stephanie Montford Derzypolski said yes when I asked her to marry me was like, blew my mind. I was deeply in love with her, and we dated for a year or two, but I was still nervous. Was I good enough? Would she want to spend the rest of her life with me? So, to me, that was a pretty big deal.
Okay, we got a Stephanie question. Mm-hmm. You choose one. Where did you meet, or where was your first date? You choose, Tom.
I'll go with #1, where we met, because it plays into why I was, pursued her so. She was a young executive at Tallahassee Community Hospital. Okay. And she has her MBA and was working in the executive suite. And so when I was leaving work in the morning, she was arriving. And I always thought she was cute, but I didn't know her name. And then I had some reason to call her office for something. And I was hoping in her voicemail she would say her name and email so that I would finally know who she was. And anyways, yeah, we ended up meeting through hospital events,
Okay.
holiday parties and various things. But she heard I was a bachelor and that I dated the nurses, which was true, and just had no interest in me. She didn't want a playboy or anybody that was less than serious about their relationships. And so I was head over heels. I was like, I'm done. I just want, to date you. And she was not in. We probably professionally dated. I had all these work events to go to because I had started at Kid Group while working overnight. So our first date was the Tallahassee Symphony Orchestra because they were a client and it was the holidays. And at the time, I couldn't stand the symphony, but I was like, I'm not taking her to a bar. I want to show her I can go do something refined.
You've got culture. You're
I got culture.
sophisticated. Look at
And
me.
it was like 3 hours of trying to stay awake. I'm just joking, Mandy. I love the symphony. It's great.
Awesome. So you can sit down with any celebrity, alive or dead, and have a cold beer. Who would that celebrity be?
McConaughey. He's cool, man. He's got a really creative mind. His outlook on life and stuff. I would be fascinated to sit down and chat with him. Probably just listen. Just be like, hey, man, do your thing. I think that would be kind of cool.
Awesome. Biggest obstacle in your life? What was it? Or is? Was or is?
To me, it is focus and discipline. And you might be like, whoa, you're running for office. Do you want people to know that? Yeah, I do. You can overcommit. You can spread yourself too thin. And it's after 25 years of working in the community that I've learned to become more disciplined in my daily routine and focus on the commitments you've made to your company, to your clients, to your wife, to your friends, and make sure that you deliver on, what you said. But it took me a long time to do that because I wanted to do so much. I wanted to help everything or everybody. And then you end up helping nobody. So to me, I think maintaining a level of discipline and structure and trying to focus daily. Because when I was in school, I was just a bad redheaded kid. And when I'm 6 years old in 1980, you're just a kid who wouldn't sit down or be quiet and you're always in trouble. I definitely had ADD. I probably still have it now. But to me, that's helped in my creative endeavors. Like I'll be working with a nonprofit in the morning, have 10 a.m. I'll do a technology company. At noon, I'll have lunch with a healthcare executive. In the afternoon, it's some other resort in California. So I'm in the industry I need to be in so that I can engage a lot of content throughout one day.
So the bearded guy was right. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Good guy.
I was talking to a young professional group with Access last week or the week before with Richard from Moore Bass and the Capital City Bank team. And I was like, think about where you are in the world. You're lucky, that corporations and individuals are recognizing, wellness and health. And, none of the things that we got when we were younger in our career, it was all about hard work and all about putting in the 12 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I was like, but that's going to come back. Everything's cyclical. Buzzwords come and go. Health is important and always will be, but that focus and that discipline, I think, is a lesson that we're not teaching the next generation enough. Because you can't just take care of yourself. You got to take care of the community. And everything you just said was a great reminder of that message. Because when I started talking about it, everybody laughed. I'm like, this is not a joke. I was like, hard work is the foundation of everything in the world that matters.
Oh, yeah.
And focus and discipline gets you to that place, and then they're like, huh?
Yeah.
And so then, oh well, I guess you get a laugh from a crowd, you take it.
Yeah, and I would tell, just to put a cap on that, it's the pursuit of it. I have periods of time where I'm on target every day. I'm focused, man. Alarm clock, bang, 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 awesome. And then you get fatigued, you get distracted, but I think you have to, come back to it and constantly try to, be better there. I'm not done. I got
Awesome.
work to do.
All right, Tom, you're running for city commission.
Yeah.
How can people find out more about you, what you believe in? What are your go-to social platforms?
Yeah, tomfortallahassee.com.
Okay.
And it's got ways to get a hold of me, ways to volunteer, ways to connect. And I love being with groups of people or one-on-one. So between now and August 18th, this is a big deal. The election is not in November. It's in August. I need people to show up. between now and then, I'd welcome the opportunity to buy you a coffee, or come to your office and sit in the boardroom and talk to your associates or, whatever. I think it's real important that people do their homework and meet the candidates or take some time to understand who they are.
Agreed. Get out to the polls in August. Get out to the polls in November.
That's right.
And don't click bogus emails from anyone, because now that we're talking about it, election season is a great time for hackers to monetize your funds. Don't let them liberate your coinage. There'll be fake email blasts from the Democrats, from the Republicans, from local people, from national entities. Vet anything you click on, especially before you click pay. That's your cyber tip for today. My name is Blake Dowling. I'm the CEO at Aegis BizTech. This is the Biz and Tech Podcast. Thank you, Tom, for being here.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you guys next time, and have an awesome day.